Hello, this is David Dean, and welcome to the confusing world of recombobulator for traps. It is definitely interesting. I have actually been hoping somebody else would put up a video first, but so far that has not happened. And after I went through and got everything set up for this video, I totally understand why people are not putting up videos for this. You have to, the only way you can do a video for this is to basically convert all your traps, which you're not going to want to do at a very fast rate at all. I do want to say for this video, whenever I'm talking about maxing out damage for a trap, I am going off of Destiny Sylvade. He put up a spreadsheet and information by an algorithm he developed for figuring out how to max out trap damage. And basically this comes, his recommendation is on your damage traps, put 1 crit rating, 2 crit damage, and 1 reload speed if at all possible, and that will get you max damage. But if you watch my videos, usually I'm not interested in damage as much as I am in impact. So I have some different recommendations, or at least how I would do it. But let's go ahead. In this video, I'm going to be focusing on the 4 wall traps: the launcher, the dynamo, the darts, and the lights. And also I'll talk a little bit about different elemental types of traps, how you can use different traps with different elemental types to even each other out. And I will be doing 2 more videos, one for ceiling traps, one for floor traps. And definitely let me know what you agree with on this video, what you disagree with, any comments, and then I will try to update that in the future 2 videos. But yeah, let's go ahead and get this started on something that, this hit me bad. But basically, this is my backpack. All of these are were built with the old schematics. All of these, as far as wall traps, have been updated to new schematics. And we're going to go through and compare the 2. My absolute favorite trap in the game, and the one I always level up first and use my schematic XP up on first, is the wall launcher. The wall launcher, you want to send a husk flying off a cliff or down into some lava in Twine Peaks, wall launcher is great. Also, the wall launcher can send the husk flying back down your trap tunnels, so they're taking damage from all the other traps again and again and again. One thing that Epic changed was that it used to be when a husk got hit by a wall or floor launcher, when they hit the ground, they would take damage from the fall. Now that doesn't happen unless they fall a great distance. So that is a change. And also, Epic keeps going back and forth. I think this is the 3rd or 4th time they've changed it, where before, if you had a wall launcher behind a staircase or behind a 45 and a husk walked in that area, the launcher would impact the husk and send them flying. It would shoot through the building structure. That is no longer the case. I went and tested it out. No. If you have a staircase or a 45 ramp and there is a husk beating on the other side of it, the wall launcher no longer affects it. So let you know that, but let's get into the reperk stuff. Basically what I did with my traps, and I hated doing this because I wanted to set up my traps the way I wanted them, but instead I set up my traps to make it best for this video, where I tried to get the perks identical, if at all possible, to what they were before, so you could tell better what the changes actually were with the numbers outside of the perks. So on this one, we got 17.5 impact between these 2. We got 35 reload speed between the 2 and a durability. On the new one, we end up with 17.5 impact and knockback, the same. We end up with 35 reload speed, the same. And now we have 1 extra durability on there, which really not worried about. But when you go to the numbers, this gets ugly really fast, unfortunately. So we start here, and this doesn't do damage. It doesn't do crit hits or crit damage. All you care about on here is impact, which is about 19,000, and the knockback, how far they go flying when the impact overrides their impact counter. And on this one, it is 1,800. So, okay, I converted it over, and we went from 1,800 knockback down to 1,500 and some. And then impact went from 19,000 down to almost 17,000. So that is a big decrease in impact, and that is a huge increase in knockback. And it's even a bigger decrease when you realize that my level 15 wall launcher, I've never put any experience or schematic XP to, so it doesn't have any perks affecting it right now or anything else, has 1,536 knockback. The same now as my level 130 launcher with all of the, or the two supposed increases to knockback. So obviously, if you convert your launchers, it resets it back to the base level of knockback, and the perks have no effect on it whatsoever. So yeah, I am really upset that I converted my wall launchers. I definitely made them worse, and no amount of increasing any of this will increase this number. It just stays at 1,536, which is a huge deal because I'm using my wall launcher to send husks back into the trap tunnel, and whether they go back a tile and a half, or 2 tiles determines how many times they're getting hit by all the other damage traps. This is just ugly, and Epic needs to fix this as soon as possible. And then on my other account, I have 2 accounts. This is the one I finished the game on. The other one is a no cash account. When I went and converted it on the new one, I went and on the same thing. I had the impact and knockback. I took both of them all the way up from here, blue and green, up to orange, and maxed them out. And it took maxing them out in 2 categories to get it even with what I had in the past. So make sure, if you're going to convert them, make sure you have a ton of the reperks and a ton of whatever you're going to need to level them up, because it is going to take a lot just to break even. And yeah, wall launchers, unfortunately, of all the traps that I've seen so far, the wall launchers converted the worst in this. So we're only going to get better from here. Yay. All right. Let's move on. And basically going to do it in the order that I enjoy using the traps. So number 1 trap in the game for me is wall launcher. Next one I enjoy leveling up, mainly among the wall ones, is the dynamo. It does heavy damage with really heavy impact. Most people ignore the fact that dynamos have impact, but it is a big deal, because once again, you're basically knocking down that impact counter on the husk, and when it gets down to 0, they get staggered for a second or so. And that means they're in the trap tunnels longer. And plus, when smashers are walking through and you're knocking down that impact counter, hopefully by the time they get to the launcher sends them flying. So that is a big deal. And like when I said before, where the individual had done the spreadsheet and the algorithm for max damage, he recommended, is that the right one? Yeah. Crit rating, 1 crit rating, 2 crit damages, and a reload speed, which is all you care about damage, definitely go with. But I will probably on mine load up on reload speed, because I am more focused in keeping them in the trap tunnels as long as possible. So the more times this thing goes off, and it does have a very long reload time, the wall darts reload in half the amount of time. So I want these things going off really fast to get that impact, to get them staggered. So they're sitting there, you got a floor trap doing damage to them, you got a ceiling trap doing damage to them, and then you got the 2 wall traps doing damage to them. So that's just how I would set up mine. There really is no perfect setup to it, But let's go ahead and compare the two. When we look at the stats of what I had, 2 crit chances for 49, and then reload 14, and then some durability. So we go down here in the trap. We have 2 crit ratings for 35 instead of 49, and then a reload speed. I could have put in here durability to make it more of an exact match, but I don't want durability on this. As I said, I want the reload speed. I think I'm going to be forced to do the durability in the final one. On the traps, on almost all of them, on the 6th slot, you get to choose by increasing building health, increase building regen, or I believe it's durability. I'm not worried about the regeneration or the building health because all my trap tunnels are set up for the mobs to walk through them. They are not bashing on any walls anywhere until they get to the actual objective. And usually I have a 45-degree or inverted stair steps there, which you can't put a trap on anyway. So I'm going to do all my traps, anything but the regeneration and the wall strength. Because the only time that's going to be a factor is if somebody shoots a propane tank or throws a grenade in where there's a propane tank and it blows up, and chances are it's going to blow everything up regardless. So that's just the way I do it. But getting back to this, so we got 2 crit chances here with a reload and 2 crit chances here for a reload. When we look at the stats, damage is basically 900 for what I had, and so here we have 989. So we actually went up in damage. And I should bring that point up too because I got a lot of questions about it. Everybody was getting upset or amazed that it had nature trap on it, or nature damage. And it's always had that. The electrical traps, the wall dynamo, the ceiling electric field, and the ceiling zapper are all nature traps. They do electrical. And if you don't know, if it is a nature trap, it's doing more damage against water, a lot of damage. It's doing average damage for nature, and it's doing very little damage on fire husk. But you can offset that. Now they've started to do other traps. Before, all they had was nature ones. Now you have a fire floor trap, and you have a freeze trap. That's a water trap. And you can balance it out if you like using your electrical traps and you know fire husk are coming in. Put down your freeze trap, and now they're taking double damage. So even though they're taking less damage from the nature electrical traps, the fact you're having them frozen causes them to take more damage. So just use your traps that way if you know that's what's coming in. And once again, keep getting sidetracked. But yeah, we got here the new one has more damage on it. The crit chance is at 41. The old crit chance was 59. So that dropped quite a bit, 18%. That is a huge hit. But crit damage is at 1300. And over here it's 1400. So the new one, less crit chance, but more crit damage. So that kind of evens itself out. For impact, that's what I care about, and it did not change. Unfortunately, there's no perks on this trap to increase impact. That is a big mistake. I hope Epic changes that in the future. It really needs to have that impact on there, or be able to increase it, since that is a key element of the trap. But now moving on to wall darts. Wall darts just do regular physical damage, as it shows here. And they can detect mobs within 3 tiles, but they shoot out 6 tiles. They can't shoot through walls or anything. But these are great if you are building up a wall and then you put a hole in it for your trap tunnel for all the mobs to come in, facing out to the spawn point. Put up wall darts facing or targeting out to the spawn point. As soon as everything spawns, immediately these things are going off and hitting a long range. They don't do great damage, but they do go off pretty fast, and they cover a large area. And that's where they really shine. I really don't use them that much in trap tunnels, just because they're good for long distances. and that doesn't usually work in a trap tunnel. But for stats, we got 2 crit ratings, a damage, and a reload speed. Up here, we got 2 crit chance, 2 damage, and a reload speed. So pretty close to the same. Let's see. Yep. And it has more physical damage of 32. So let's see what we get in the numbers. Here we got 459. My old one's dead 400. So actually, even though this one has 2 damage perks on it, this one is doing more damage with the damage 15 here, and evidently adding in this 32% damage for physical damage. So the new ones are doing more damage. Let's see, reload should be the same. Yeah, they're the same. Crit hit chance, the new ones are 38. The old ones are 52. And that is one thing you'll see across the board, is the new crit hit rating, regardless of what the number is actually less than the crit chance. But once again, the crit damage is 689, and the old ones was 609. So now the crit damage has gone up by 80 points. So overall, to me, it's kind of a wash on this one. It's basically the same trap. So converting that one, not such a big deal. And then we got the wall lights. And as you can probably tell by the fact that I have never leveled up don't have these leveled up, I really don't use them. I leveled some up when I first started playing the game on my first account, but by the time I got into Plankerton, I realized I could always use some other wall trap better than the wall lights. If I wanted to stun a husk, knock it down, or send it flying, I could use my wall launcher. Or I could use the dynamo, which would have a lesser impact, but would also still be doing damage to the target. So I did not see a point, so I recycled the wall lights I had to use that schematic XP somewhere else. I know other people that really like the wall lights and use them. Not going to say it's good or bad. Everybody has their own style. But for myself, yeah, I don't use wall lights. And then I don't have any perks on it, so it works really good because we can just look at it as it is. And what we're going to see is they're basically the same thing. The thing you care about on these is stun time, 2.5 seconds. And once again, the impact, 2,685. And if you go over here, 2,685, stun time, same thing. So they start basically the exact same. I need to go back and check to see if what you want on these, if you're increasing anything, is increasing stun time, well, increasing those things, the stun time and the amount of impact. But once again, I can always find somewhere else to spend schematic XP than on wall lights. And that's just my opinion on it. But I hope this helps going through and just showing you the different traps, how the perks, reperk system works on them. Like I said, I am really regretting doing it on the wall launcher. I wish somebody had told me about this before I did it. On the wall darts, not that big of a difference. To me, it was pretty much a wash all around. The dynamo, really close to the same thing. You're mainly losing the crit chance. And on wall lights, I wouldn't have leveled up either one of them. So there you go. Have a great day. Let me know your comments. Let me know what I did right or did wrong. I know on my last couple videos, evidently, I was saying the word evidently way too much. So I've taken that to heart, and I have tried not to say it at all this video. So keep your comments coming. I love them. I love the feedback, and subscribers are really what makes this channel work. Take care and have a great one.